team.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We got another chart talk coming at you live during market hours. We are finally back. Quelling the rumors that Trading Experts has done. People are hitting me on the side saying, "Are you guys still in business?" I said, "No, Bennett's just on vacation. Don't have a cow." Ben, how was the trip? Italy, a couple weeks. Albania. Give us some deets.
Yeah, the trip was a blast. Again, I feel like with funny stories, it's always like what like the worst of the trip is like the funny part. It's not like, oh, the beaches are beautiful, the view was great. It's like the stories suck.
Those are your trips, Bennett. Those are exclusive to Bennett details. But go on, love to hear.
Um, so again, I don't really take connecting flights. I always, for the most part, I'm flying and you just get to where you're gonna go.
Too rich.
No, just like flying to California, I'm not gonna like stop in Cincinnati. I'm just gonna go like direct. So I haven't taken a connecting flight in a while, but to get to where I was going, you had to take one, but they were two different airlines. So I didn't realize I had to pick up the bag at like the first stop and then like recheck it on the second flight. I just went to my next flight and got on board and just went on my merry way.
Oh, man, you ain't in the US anymore, huh?
Yeah. So as soon as and again, it's like it's summertime. It's hot by you. It's hot here. It's super hot in Italy. It's like 100 degrees there. I'm wearing like a sweater in the airport. So I get to Italy and realize that my luggage is not in Italy. And I have my little carry-on that has like a book and like my watches and like no other clothes.
Right.
But again, I had like, even though I lost the luggage, I had like a really nice suit in it, really nice shirts. Like they're just gone. Like they're just donated to Paris or somewhere at that first stop. And anyone I talked to like throughout the trip and just mentioned past, like, oh yeah, I lost my luggage. Every person was like, oh my God, that sucks. Like whatever. And honestly, I had a ton of fun. Like I was buying just, super Italian shirts when I was in Italy. I thought that people in Albania would like those shirts. They did not. They like black t-shirts. So by the end of the week, like the second week when we were in Albania, I was with Skender, our tax partner, because he, was raised there. By the beginning of the week, I was super Italian, and by the end of the week, I was almost Albanian because I had like the black shirts on and stuff.
Nice.
So that was like the main takeaway. It was just, losing that and it just not being a big deal. It was like, you can buy another t-shirt. It's not, it's not the end of the world. But the trip was fun. Next year, I'll probably spend more time over there because it was like 90% cheaper in Albania and Macedonia than it was in Italy. And they were, I don't want to say it's like the bootleg Italy, but like the geography of it was basically the same. Only difference really was
better way to say that than bootleg.
I mean, it's like the same, just so much. It was like hilariously cheaper. Like you get two Aperol spritzes in Italy and it'd be $80 or €80, and then you'd get a bottle in a club in Albania for €80. So it was like a dramatic difference in price, but the views or the lakes or the water was the same, if not more beautiful. So ton of fun, definitely going back. So yeah, that was my main thing.
Water's water, right?
Water's water. I don't know. Some of the water I was like,
I'll give you a quick funny story on that too. And it's like you came out of that so positively. I was going to Amsterdam back in the day. I think it was 2019. And I was meeting my ex at the airport at the time. She was coming from work, and it was on my duty to like take all the luggage. And I had this sick trading day. I made 12K at the day, which at the time was like one of my best days at the time. About to go on the trip. I'm so excited. Just like became like brain mush, just so excited. Forget her luggage, take mine, show up at the airport, like, what up? She's like, oh, thank you so much for bringing my luggage. I'm like, oh, she wasn't as easy going about it as you are. I'll just say I can't believe we didn't make it. All right. Well, glad to hear you had a great trip. Let's get back to work a little bit over here. But let's hop into the market. Let's look at some charts.
Let's do it.
All right. So we got a little risk off action out of S&P, and we got Google earnings. They were actually great, but it seems like that move priced in. So they're gapping down. They're taking the market down with it. Tesla, I had high hopes that they would have a sick earnings report and come back into play really well, because this monthly chart is a monthly. I mean, it's very wide and loose right now, but it's looking like a massive base. So I was hoping they would come back a little bit, but no dice there, and they're taking the rest of the market down with it. Now, the big thing that we've seen in the past few weeks is the huge small cap breakout. And now the number one thing I'm looking for right now, as the Qs are getting toasted today, can the small caps hold up while the mega cap sell off. So we've seen this very, very obvious rotation where everything that's been leading us up, Microsoft dead today, Apple getting smoked, Amazon, looking very grim at support here, failed breakout, Google, great earnings, horrible reaction. So money clearly coming out of the big names that led us higher, and money clearly going into the IWM, this weekly chart, if it wants to continue this breakout. Let me get rid of some of these things. If this IWM wants to continue this weekly breakout, the target is recent highs. It seems crazy to say that they can run there because this thing's been in hiding for so long, but it's been sitting in this range forever. It hasn't really had great price action. And then look at the action since it made this definitive turn up. So the game has clearly changed in small caps. So the main thing, I don't have a lot of charts to go over. I got stopped out of pretty much everything today. So the main thing I've been doing is on the research game is really trying to find the small caps. And one that's a perfect example is the CPRX. Gave such a great entry yesterday. So I'm finding all these names that are in these huge macro bases. And then when I find that they have a nice chart, I head over to FinViz. I type in CPRX, and FinViz just created this new thing right here where it says it's what it's held in, which indexes. So this one's held in the IWM. It's the number one thing I'm looking for right now. And it's also a biotech held in the XBI. Both these things, it's in the IWM breaking out of this huge macro base, and it's in this XBI also breaking out a huge macro base. So because it has this nice setup within this macro base, and it's a biotech, and it's a small cap, that setup's got to be at the top of our list. So we're seeing the game change, and there's a lot of new names to be traded. So I'd like to go over like what to do and how to kind of position yourself for research. As you can see, I got FinViz up here. It's looking very grim in the mega cap tech land. So what I'm doing, I'm hitting up the screener, and I'm going to index. I'm going to the Russell 2000. I'm going average volume over 500K, price over $10. And then I'm going to the technicals, and I'm going price above the 200-day, price above the 50-day. And then I'm using this, and I'm just screening charts like a motherfucker. We're going to have all these new names to trade. I got stopped out of a couple, but right now, the one thing I want to make clear right now, it's going to pay to do that extra bit of research right now to find these new names coming out of bases. I was posting a few charts over the week, just like, if this looks good, if this looks good. Took my eye off them, and they're all small caps, and they're all just ripping and breaking out to the upside. While, Google, Tesla, all these things that everyone loves are getting absolutely smoked. So it pays to be in the right place where the money's flowing to. So a few other names I had on this list, I was trying to buy a dip in this love. Small cap sitting within this huge base. It's not working out today, but that's okay. When it sets up, I'm going to be ready to take this thing very long through this 30 area. So I bought this pivot here, it came right back at me. It's okay. This Trump, same thing. TRUP. Now you look at this thing over the long term, looks like death. Look over at least last year and change, sitting in this huge macro base. And we've seen the names like, look at this Lemonade. I had this on the newsletter through 17. When it was triggering, I was like, what's funny about it now looking back, the trigger was 17. I was looking at the previous day, 1630. I was like, I don't want to give this 70 cents a risk, this cheap name. And then it runs, $7 in like 8 days. But these are the type of moves we're seeing if you're in the right place. So, big tech, all these things that have been so good to us for so long, SMCI, these things are just falling out of favor. The big funds are not putting money to work in these things. So you got to switch up what you're looking at. And, it might just be time to be a little more patient right now. See if this IWM kind of holds up. Qs complete a 10% correction. Take the escalator up, elevator down. 456 is a quick 10% correction, which happened very fast. I think we did a really good job of kind of getting out of harm's way. I shorted this MU last week. Oh man, this is like a big regret of mine, but I know a lot of guys did super, super well with it. I shorted this day. I added through the trigger. I actually covered This is my regret of the month, so I'm coming here to bitch about it. I covered here at the lows because
Oh.
ASML had earnings.
Mhm.
Ah, God. ASML had earnings the next day. I'm like, well, if they have great earnings, semis will be back, blah, blah, blah. I just talked myself out of trade. But
Mhm.
really, I'm risking profit. And then look what happens. You know, things at 111 on a 130 trigger in a week. So got to stick with the winners. That one stinks to mess up, but, you know, I made some money on it. And, you know, my account's pretty much flat over the month. It's been in a wide range. I had some good winners, gave a bunch back, didn't make enough in that MU, things like that. So, you know, a little frustrating environment, but as long as the account's going sideways and not lower, you know, while the Nasdaq's down 8% in like a couple weeks,
Mhm.
that I look at that as a win in itself. So I'm sure you're catching up. Probably don't have much to offer the people. So I kind of just wanted to give you know, a little synopsis of where
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, you know.
Give it to us. Give us what you got. Maybe you know, taking it off the market a few weeks is good.
Yeah, I mean, it's again a lot of the lines I had drawn here, like you're talking about the S&P. Like I had a few names that I was in over the trip, and I've always had like a superstition with like holding positions on vacation because when I go away, I want to just go have fun. I don't want to be like staring at my phone the entire time.
Hey,
But
wait. The people are saying you
Mhm.
took that laptop, the luggage never got lost, and you just frisbeed it in the ocean. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. I don't know. I don't know.
That was a very cheap laptop, so it wasn't like it was like one of those like free netbooks when you get like your Verizon in your house, they like send you the free like $200 laptop. It was one of
Yeah,
those.
free in the ocean.
Uh, um, but anyways, again, I had these lines drawn here again. You know, for the S&P below 542 was kind of the risk off area. Again, you kind of touched on the weakness the market's been. Again, you guys know it much more clearly than I have over the last week or two, the weakness we've seen. I don't think the IWM is going to continue that push higher. As the market pulls in, I think it'd have to probably back test this breakout area eventually. Yeah,
I would be very surprised to see it back test all the way there. I would consider that almost if it back tests that far, I would consider it a failed move. I think it needs to
well,
hold kind of
yeah.
pivot.
No, I'm just saying like if we continue to see this weak action from the Qs and the S&P, this will probably have to pull back. Maybe not to exactly here, but it will have to pull back before that next push higher. And again, when we get these 10% corrections, that's often when everyone's like, oh, not us, but like it's like the market's dead, the market's over. And then 2 months later, we're back at, the 10% corrections completely reverse itself. And like just like we
Right.
saw this last time, we had a very similar, it's almost like we're seeing almost the same action again. I'm just going to delete all these lines. So we have this massive
Yeah.
run up here, same run up here. And like it was like these days, like, and this was quick, couple days. It was like the next bear market starting, we're rolling, we're gonna H over back to, back to
Yep.
whatever these lows were, and then it was back to the, off the races. So, maybe we get a official correction in the Qs. The S&P really hasn't pulled back much. But if these
There you
two,
go. I'm telling you, there's a lot of strength under the hood. It's just like the
Mhm,
mega tech that let us up, and now is such a huge part of the market. Like
mhm,
that's what's really getting killed, and
mhm,
like semis and shit like that. But like otherwise, other sectors, I don't think it's too bad out there
yeah,
for what's
yeah,
going on. For
yeah.
what's going on.
Again, for me, the last month, I've pretty much been in this Intel. I'm fully out of it today. I didn't get to really take I did pretty good with it. I got out of most. I got like shooken out most like through this like 34 when I was away, and then did not get to take advantage of like this, these two moves. Again, just had like very limited service. And the time difference is like crazy. It's like I'm, trying to get internet like 7 in the morning there, and it's 3 o'clock here or whatever. So I gave back a little bit, pretty much, I mean, like $1 share on the remainder of this Intel position, but made decent money in it for the risk reward in the name. Again, completely off the radar for now. Things, getting whacked. So not trying to like chase this back on the way down, but after earnings, if this base continues to set up, I'll have no problem buying it again, but it won't be again, especially if I sat in this thing for like a month before it really broke out. I'm not chasing this thing all the way back down. So made some money in that. I'm still in this T-Mobile. I know the tech.
Whatever earnings today. I think that is sick earnings today. Can you go to daily on T-Mobile?
Yeah,
I
once
think that
yeah,
was
because
one of the few charts. Oh no, no,
no,
no, no,
not
no.
yet. No, not till end of the
Oh,
month.
AT&T. Sorry.
Mhm.
Sick.
Yeah,
Rare gap and go today on earnings.
yeah. So again, so it's like you have the big three. You have T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. So T-Mobile and Verizon are going to move pretty much like bonds. They pay very high dividend yields, where T-Mobile doesn't pay any. T-Mobile trades like the momentum stock of the telecom sector. But for me, I've just been in this. We took some profits back into June. We had this nice run up, and then I've just been sitting in the remainder versus weekly low that's been holding for almost 2 months now. So I've just been rocking with this one. Did put in new highs while I was away. Just letting it work. Seems like it's a pretty decent flag that's starting to form up here. So maybe there's an eventual buy through this 182, 83 down the road. So just kind of sitting in that. I'm also still sitting in that QRVO. This was, shouts to Tim. Tim called this one out right around, I think when I was getting into Intel, we got a crazy like 4-day move, took out those recent 52-week highs. And this was the initial target, was just like that retest of this prior high. It pushed through it. There was really no reason to sell. And actually, now that we say it, I probably just got stopped out because earlier today it was like trading up here. So I'm probably actually out of this now. So I guess just still sitting in that T-Mobile. But again, been out of the market for a week or two now. Enjoy the time away. So now I have to go back to start scanning some names and finding the next few ideas. Definitely keeping a close eye on this Amazon still. This is like a perfect sneaky buyback setup. This is 190 level.
I read it on the newsletter this week in the beginning of the week. I thought it would bounce back too. It's like everyone wants to buy the breakout. No one wants to buy the support buy when it pulls back.
Yeah. So
but the action we're seeing in the other megas, it's not very good. They got earnings next week.
Yeah, it looks like the first. So yeah, but this is more one. It's like this is such a this has been setting up since 21, this level. So it's great to see it broke out that 190. It's fine that it came back. And this is when, like, again, most traders, like, we're technical traders, we forget about it. And then 2 months later, we're like, how is Amazon at 220 or 230 or 240, wherever it is. So just keeping those alerts set for that 190 for that buyback, whether it's an opening range breakout through earnings or if it needs to get pushed lower before that's going to happen, just, keeping a very close eye. I don't want to miss that one. You mentioned, SMCI kind of off the radar as it's getting a little weaker here, down through this, 700. But if it does,
to the downside. I was looking at that too. There was like nice support there, but to the downside.
Yeah. And this LRCX kind of all in the same boat there.
Yeah, all these semis. Yeah.
But this
So
again,
that's what I'm saying. It's like research time. There's good action out there. It's just names we haven't really had on the radar.
Yeah. So again, it's funny because you can't see like what I'm wearing right now, but I'll be visiting Shake in a few weeks, and I'm wearing an outfit that we'll be wearing. I'll be sitting next to Mo for that event. But Shake, you can't see right now, which is funny, which you'll see when you watch the video after, Ryan puts it together. But that's all I got on my end. So.
All right. Well, good to have you back. Market was good until you came back. I don't know what happened.
I guess I go back on vacation again.
Yeah, might as well, huh? QQQ. First 2% down day for the market in like 200 trading days or some shit like that.
Should have stayed away.
Yeah, should have stayed away. Should have. I don't know. All right. Well, we're officially back. We'll keep you guys updated. Any questions, all that shit. But other than that, see you guys next week.
If you think you're going to get rich overnight trading, we're not for you. If you don't want to read daily or weekly to improve upon yourself, we're not for you. If you're not interested in saving weekly and building your accounts for the long term, we're not for you. If you're not looking to improve yourself daily, we're not for you. If you do want to build wealth for the long term, read weekly, save weekly, do all the right things for the long game, then we might be for you.